Newegg reacts to a pricing error in the worst way is my headline here. This was prepared by Riley Murdoch. As someone who has caused pricing errors in the past, I apologize in advance for the somewhat more sympathetic read that I might have on this. In fact, I'm going to let you do it. I haven't actually read this yet. I have no idea what happened. It's possible it's just outrageous and inexcusable, but I made mistakes before, and I was very grateful when people didn't try to pin me to the wall for them.
On August 7th, around 4 p.m. EST, there's some typos here, but Newegg Canada listed a Gigabyte RTX 3090 Ti model for $1,084.99, an $855 discount off of its previous $1,940. Nice. This deal was posted on r/BAPC Sales Canada and redflagdeals.com.
Redflagdeals.com. That brings me back. Red Flag Deals was the bane of my existence when I was working as a product manager, and was one of my top 3 bookmarks before I was a product manager.
I also remembered that. I remember you talking about Red Flag Deals literally all the time.
Man, Red Flag Deals was my jam. That was my haunt. NCIX forums and Red Flag Deals actually might have been my top 2 bookmarks back when I was
similar. I was just OCN and Red Flag Deals.
Yeah.
I was on Red Flag Deals, just not as much as you were, where many users reported receiving order shipping confirmations for these graphics cards. Seems like almost everyone had their orders canceled, and it appears that Newegg forced an RMA/return and told the shipping company to return packages to HQ.
Okay. I'm going to have to look at that a little more closely. It's possible that's not quite how it went down, but I'll explain that in a little bit.
Many contacted support and were told conflicting information. It's not a price error. Actually, it is a price error. The GPU is out of stock, even though it was in stock after all the packages, even though it was back in stock after all the packages had been returned. No, actually, the free game bundle was out of stock. Yada, yada, yada.
Red Flag Deals looks exactly like it did 10 years ago, except with more ads.
Yeah. Some customers were charged for the game bundle price and given a $25 gift card for their trouble. Newegg's actions may violate Canadian consumer rights law, which requires retailers to honor the lowest advertised price. In some cases, Quebec especially. Quebec always has special asterisks on literally everything.
Yep.
Judges have sided with the retailer in a case of extremely drastic price errors, like a computer being listed for $2, which was like clearly an accident. But was it a pricing error? Earlier this week, EVGA officially slashed $1,000 off of some of their RTX 3090 models. Crazy.
So I have some speculation. So take this for what it is, speculation. For the shipping confirmations that were supposedly recalled, what is possible there is that the label was created. A lot of people don't know this, but when you get a shipping confirmation from a retailer, what that means is a tracking label has been created in the system. It does not mean that that consolidated pallet of boxes has actually left the warehouse. So it is quite possible that these were not actually shipped, and therefore, from Newegg's point of view, not shipped. Now, that doesn't necessarily make me lean one way or the other in terms of, were their actions right or not right. It's just something that a lot of people misunderstand. They think that shipping confirmation means the parcel is in the air, and it doesn't actually mean that. Another thing, what was I going to talk about? Oh, crap. There was another really interesting. Oh, yeah, right. So the bit with customer support having different stories, that is pretty normal. And a company that size, they would have probably multiple teams of customer support, and it is quite possible that some people thought one thing and others didn't get the memo. That's just pretty obviously human error.
There are ways to fix that, Newegg, by the way. If you have a managed team-based CAN response system, and you see a problem coming like this, and someone orchestrates a CAN response, then the entire team gets the update, and it should all be unified.
But one person might have sent out a different one before that happened.
Yep.
So stuff happens.
Definitely possible. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Now, here's where I get into super speculation territory. EVGA officially slashed the price by $1,000, right? Newegg discounted this GPU, this gigabyte GPU, by $855.
Brand, yep.
Something I know about EVGA from dealing with them is that aside from their policies, by and large, within the constraints of the industry they operate in, because they don't have a ton of margin, by and large, they try to do the right damn thing as a company. And that goes for end users, that also goes for partners. So while it is possible that if it was an EVGA GPU, they might have been able to... Okay, so hold on. First of all, it's very likely that if EVGA is slashing the price by... Not very likely, it is a guarantee. If EVGA is slashing the price by $1,000, NVIDIA adjusted the price. Period. That's how that works. EVGA doesn't have $1,000 of margin in an RTX, in an anything. They just don't have it. So NVIDIA altered the price. But remember, guys, NVIDIA has their own inventory of chips, and sometimes it's virtual inventory. It's allocations of future productions. In the case of the 3090 Ti, I suspect it's actual inventory, not allocations, because it seems to be overstocked. But NVIDIA has their own inventory. Then, once it reaches the board partner, there are different layers of inventory. They have inventory that is on allocation or is raw chips. They have inventory that is completed boards. They have inventory that is binned to a specific SKU. So whether it's a super clock or a super clock or a super ultra clock or whatever else, then they have inventory that is in their retail partners. So the way to deal with all those different layers of inventory comes down to whatever the agreement was, whatever the purchase agreement was for those GPUs. So an example of how it might normally work would be that NVIDIA drops the price and EVGA goes, hey, we've got tens of thousands of these things sitting in our warehouse and in our, sitting unbuilt and sitting built in our warehouse. What on earth are we supposed to do with these? And NVIDIA would, in those cases, typically, if there isn't a special arrangement, they would offer what's called price protection or some kind of MDF or kickback or some way to take that new inventory and bring it down to the new cost. There's lots of creative ways that you can play around with to do this. Sometimes they might, and I'm not saying NVIDIA does it this way, but I've seen lots of different strategies. Sometimes they will simply offer you a credit on your next order. Sometimes, very rarely, they would issue a cash back to you. Sometimes if it's a smaller amount and it's not critical to maintaining your business, they might offer you an MDF, like a marketing discretionary funding, where you just have to send out some email blasts that promote whatever this brand is, and then they'll send you cash for that. However, they can justify it on their books. Another way they might do it is a blended cost. So they might sell you this new lower cost inventory at an even lower rate, so that you'll load up on more and push this new aggressively priced product, and that'll help bring down the cost of your existing inventory. There's lots and lots of different strategies that you can use around this. And so what I suspect is happening right now is some GPUs are being covered in such a way, and some of them are hanging in limbo. And it depends on whatever the agreement was. If I'm NVIDIA and I'm clearing all of my old 7900 GTX GPUs to EVGA, and I think it was one other partner, to rebadge as the GTO, that was just this weird one-off card. And I'm using this example because it's a very real-world example. It was so cheap. It was $299 for what was essentially a GTX, which was a $600 Canadian card at the time. What I suspect is that that's a final sale. No refunds, no exchanges. You want these old chips, right? When the new generation's coming in, you deal with them. But on a current gen product, in order to support their partner, NVIDIA doesn't want their board partners going out of business, right? That's not good. They want them scraping by.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they don't want them going out of business, right?
They don't want the other teams to lose, but they want to win by as much as possible.
So they would have some kind of price protection agreement in place on EVGA's existing inventory. But where it gets a little bit more gray is what about EVGA's inventory that belongs to a retailer? What about a retailer stock? So that comes down to that board partner's specific agreement, not just with that retailer, but maybe even for that specific shipment. Maybe these are ancient cards, these Gigabyte cards at Newegg that were bought back at the peak of the GPU crisis, that were sold as is. No, you guys got your allocation. These things move on their own. We don't want any part of it. And that was part of the condition for a price or an allocation or a promotion or whatever the case may be, right? It's possible that that's where the wires got crossed. And I realize it sounds very convoluted to you guys, but these are very real things that really happen. So maybe EVGA went to Newegg and was like, hey, we're price protecting everything. Let's get the new prices in place. Don't worry, we got you. Maybe Gigabyte didn't. Maybe there was a different arrangement there. Maybe someone went and started making price adjustments to ensure that all of their 3090 Ti's were in line with the rest of the industry, thinking, oh, well, it should be fine because we're gonna get MDF, or we're gonna get price protection back on all of this stuff, so we'll deal with it later. But maybe they didn't realize that the PM had struck a special deal on these particular cards and there wasn't gonna be any price protection. So was it a pricing error? Almost certainly. But was it a pricing error where they just like fat fingered the keyboard? I suspect that's very unlikely, looking at the size of the discount and the other moves that are being made by other players in the same space. That's my takeaway. As for them lying about stock and leaving customers with $25 gift cards, at the end of the day, I think it's going to come down to a court. If people ultimately do decide to pursue legal action, I think it's going to come down to a court to decide if this constitutes a reasonable expectation that the price was accurate. Because in Canada, that's the bar.
The main thing that bugs me is like forcing a return and giving them all their money back is like very annoying.
Yeah, but they didn't like scam you. They wasted your time,
yes,
which has a value.
They definitely wasted your time. The one that bugs me is this line right here. Some customers were charged the game bundle price, which is, I think, means the non-discounted price, and were given a $25 gift card for their trouble. And then there's just like a little smiley face. If that's the full price, and then they gave them a $25 gift card for their trouble, that's some like major BS. I want to like look into this a little bit more.
So we'll see what happens. There's the inside baseball of what might have gone down. I hope that it was an innocent mistake. I hope that nobody actually ended up out any money over this. And I sympathize with anyone's disappointment in not getting the deal. Bad situation.
So they weren't charged the full price of the pre-discount. They were charged $160 for the game bundle, and then given a $25 gift card. And there's a response to it that says that it has a credit card chargeback written all over it, and it sure does. Yeah, I don't know. Not great.
Not great.